The chill of a cold case has a way of seeping into the bones of even the most seasoned investigators. Years pass, witnesses vanish, and evidence decays, but some cases, like the bizarre and haunting tale of Bonnie Haim, refuse to rest quietly in the archives. This is a story that began with a toxic marriage and ended with a gruesome discovery decades later by the most unlikely person, her own son. The cracks in a picture-perfect life on the surface, Michael and Bonnie Haim appeared like any ordinary couple. They worked together at a construction supply company run by Michael's aunt Evan Haim. Bonnie managed the books while Michael handled operations. But behind closed doors, cracks in their relationship widened into fractures impossible to ignore. Evan witnessed troubling signs. Michael had a volatile temper, and Bonnie bore the brunt of it. One particularly chilling incident near Christmas in 1992 saw Michael slam Bonnie's hand in a car door, leaving her injured and shaken. By then, Bonnie had already made up her mind. She needed to escape. Michael's controlling nature had suffocated her for years. Quietly, she began setting aside money, depositing it in a secret bank account to fund her getaway. But her plan was discovered, and Michael forced her to close the account. Undeterred, Bonnie continued to save cash, hiding it with friends she trusted. The clock was ticking. By early 1993, she had secured enough to put down a deposit on an apartment for herself and her young son, Aaron. The pieces were in place. She just needed Michael to leave town for work. But fate and Michael had other plans. Vanishing into the night January 7, 1993, Bonnie failed to show up at work, a stark deviation from her punctual nature. Concerned, her employers called the police, who quickly turned their attention to Michael. He claimed that the night before he and Bonnie had argued. She stormed out of the house and he spent the night searching for her before giving up and going to bed. His actions the next morning were suspicious. Instead of reporting his wife missing, Michael called into work claiming to be sick. This lack of urgency cast a shadow over his story, but it wasn't enough to incriminate him. Then came the discoveries. Bonnie's purse dumped behind a motel and her car abandoned in an airport parking lot. Investigators noted an odd detail. The driver's seat was pushed back far enough that someone of Bonnie's height couldn't have comfortably driven it. But suspicion wasn't truth. The police turned to 3-year-old Aaron, hoping he might have seen or heard something. What the toddler told them was chilling. Daddy heard her. Despite the ominous words, Aaron's testimony was dismissed. He was just a child prone to flights of imagination, his statements unreliable. Some even accused others of coaching him to implicate Michael. As the investigation stalled, Michael remained free. Aaron's life took a dramatic turn. Placed in foster care, he was eventually adopted. His name changed to Aaron Fraser. But the shadows of that night followed him. Refusing to let go, the skeleton in the backyard. Years passed. In 2005, Aaron, now an adult, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Michael, accusing him of his murder. A jury sided with Aaron, awarding him $263 million and, crucially, ownership of the Haim family home. In 2014, Aaron decided to renovate the dilapidated Jacksonville property, unaware that he was about to unearth a secret buried for over 2 decades. As Aaron and his brother demolished an old backyard pool, something in the dirt caught Aaron's eye, a plastic bag. Inside was what appeared to be a coconut, but as he looked closer, he froze. It wasn't coconut, it was a skull. A full set of teeth, empty eye sockets staring back at him. The remains of his mother. Alongside the skull lay a .22 caliber shell casing, a silent witness to the crime. The discovery was the missing puzzle piece investigators needed. Michael Haim was arrested in 2015, charged with the murder of his wife. Just as at last the trial reopened old wounds for Aaron. Forced to relive the trauma, he testified about his early memories of Michael's violence. The defense tried to undermine his childhood recollections, calling them contradictory. But the evidence spoke louder. Bonnie's remains buried in the yard Michael once called home left no room for doubt. After nearly 3 decades, the jury found Michael Haim guilty of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison. A hollow victory for Aaron. He continues to grapple with the scars of his past, A haunting legacy. The story of Bonnie Haim is more than a cold case solved. It's a haunting reminder of the fragility of justice, the resilience of a child seeking answers, and the chilling lengths some will go to in order to bury their secrets. For Aaron Fraser, the discovery in his backyard brought closure, but at a heavy cost. He carries the weight of his mother's memory and the horrors he witnessed as a toddler. And while Michael Haim will spend the rest of his life behind bars, the echoes of that January night in 1993 linger, a ghostly presence that refuses to fade.